Hello everybody, my name's James, welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 2 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team, and it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your future FPL planning, and it comes in very useful when you might be hitting the wildcard button in a couple of hours, because I didn't do it this week. Spoiler, you can see my team on screen. It's not spoiler, you can see it. Yes, very reluctantly I sold Dominic Solanke very late last night for Rodrigo Muniz. It wasn't a straightforward. It was definitely the player that I wanted to get if it was going to be a player to buy for 1 week. It was a very close decision whether to make the transfer or roll. Ultimately, the conclusion I came to was that with Muniz likely to go up in price last night, it could be that he'd land on my wild card anyway. Therefore, it was worth going with. I've also looked at a few structures for my Game Week 3 wild card, which I won't activate till very late in the day, just to keep an eye on players during the course of today. There's a good chance that you might end up a part of that now. Because I would just wildcard him in next week. Now, if we're going to go down that route, he's in place, and also looking at structure of what I'd like to do over a number of weeks. I don't think using the transfer now is potentially going to harm me too badly. But that was the big one. Was the transfer after wildcard going to be more useful for me than buying someone for the 1 week now? There is also possibly the psychological edge of I don't have Erling Haaland this week, and just go, oh, I'll roll with a 7.5 injured forward. Yeah, I should probably try and compete a little bit better against today. So Muniz is in. So I'm lining up this week with Raya in goal and Saliba, double Arsenal defence, double Liverpool defence, Van Dijk and Trent, Pedro Porro, Kulusevski and Heung-min Son. The quadruple Tottenham dream has died, unfortunately. Diogo Jota, captain for me. Up front, Havertz, Isak, now Muniz, Bumo, Murphy, Hall, and Onana on the bench. Highly likely to wildcard tonight, but it's not a certainty, particularly if Ollie Watkins was to go off injured today, for example. It might even cause another rethink for me. Graphics in terms of on screen, Haaland clear in terms of captaincy this week. If you want to triple captain him this week, go for it. I do think in terms of single game weeks, this is probably the best opportunity of the season if you want to use it in a single game week. There will obviously be less doubles than normal. Were I sitting there with Haaland in the team right now, I probably wouldn't do it, but that's not to put anybody else off. I do think it's the best single game week opportunity. I just think that there might be something that lands with a double later that would be more useful. Plus, also, I've used my bench boost, so there's a little bit of influence on that as well. Mo Salah, great alternative. I then think, obviously, Jota is the next best rather than a Tottenham player this week. I actually think De Bruyne over Son, for example. Bottom right hand corner, you'll see my predicted lineups for all 20 teams. To the left of me, along with the captaincy, you'll see my correct score predictions. Right at the bottom, you'll see the ticker with next 5 fixtures and all the current flags as per FPL's website, and the benching dilemmas below me, pages 1 to 4 of outfield players, and page 5 with goalkeepers. The player with the tick is the preferred option to start for the outfield players. They run in order from pages 1 through to 4. Please check graphics, because you may find that the answer to your question is on screen, and judging by last week's deadline stream, it's probably very unlikely that I'm going to get through all the questions, but I shall now try and do my best. Good luck, everyone. Ayab Salah says, good morning, James. I'm on wildcard. Is it wise to ignore Arsenal until game week 6? Yeah, it's okay, but what you got to factor in is when you get to 6, you might want 3. So I think it's a decent strategy to have something in place, even if it's just Saliba or just Saka. Also with Saka as well, I think really competitive for captaincy, possibly next week, subject to who else you have in your squad. Jordan Murphy says, I'm dealing with a complicated love triangle. Smith Rowe, Zhao or Nkunku. One must sit on the bench. The answer very reluctantly is Nkunku. They are the top 3 players on the benching dilemmas that I've got this week. Michael English says, hi mate, I have Porro, Vardy, Quansah, but Barco and Anderson on the bench. I think Anderson plays, or should I look to move one on? If so, which one? I don't know if Anderson's available to play for Fulham or not. Forgive me, I don't know if Fulham confirmed that yesterday. I think Marco Silva said he was expecting the same squad. So it's just a case of, you obviously don't need international clearance because he's obviously come from Crystal Palace. Was he registered by 12 o'clock yesterday or not? I don't know, is the honest answer. I would consider at this stage something like Quansah or Barco to Harwood Bellis. I would consider that. Not for a hit, though, obviously. Chris Wood says, is triple captain too risky with today's awful weather conditions? It is. It's gonna. I don't know about. I can't speak for the rest of the country, but it's predicted to rain all day here in North London. I'm about 2 miles from Tottenham. It's going to be. Yeah, it's going to piss down with rain all day. Does that not make it even better, Chris? Wet conditions normally equals more goals, I think, psychologically. I don't have anything statistically to back that up, by the way. Dara Sam Maguire says, hey James, no questions transfer done. Just want to thank you for all your hard work over the pre-season with the correspondence series and everything since True Champion, mate. Smash the like. Thank you very much, mate. That is truly appreciated. Thank you very much. The correspondence will appreciate it as well. Pranya Sharma says, hi James, start Hall or sell Solanke and start his replacement, 0.5 in the bank. We've got Robinson and Smith Rowe. Haaland and Isak starting with Barco and Winks on the bench. If sell, who to get? I mean, look, for me, it was a debate about buying Munez because it was just going to be for 1 week. If I was thinking any earlier, I think that's the obvious person to buy. Is Rodrigo Munez. So that's the one I'm going to say. Everyone's going to get the same answer for that, basically. I've done it for 1 week, and if I'd have been looking for longer term, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. Lee Duncan says, I'm on wildcard. Who's your favourite 5.5 mid for the long term, but to play this week on double Fulham without Andreas Smith Rowe? I think if you're going this week, I think Brereton Diaz I really quite like as a shout, actually. Don't mind that at all. Walking into Nottingham Forest today. I think they'll do well today, actually. So, yeah, Ben Brereton Diaz, I think is the one I'm going to say. Tom Kelly says, hi James, Solanke replacement when he's on Mateta. Already have Smith Rowe, no Eze. Wouldn't impact it, mate. With Mateta, again, great option. Does he start today? Feels a little bit doubtful. Just obviously going to keep an eye, guys, on any potential team news, if there's any leaks or anything like that going around. So the usual for the patrons watching, if we've got anything incoming on Brighton, Manchester United or any of the 3 o'clocks, please let me know as and when. Drop us a tag on Slack, guys. I won't check my Twitter DMs. Tom Johnson says, morning James, love the content. Need 0.5 to go Isak to Watkins next week. Can I just say now, my intention for wildcard is Isak, Watkins plus Havertz or Munez would probably be, it's going to be one or the other, I think. I might be captain Isak next week. It's very conceivable playing against my team. Yeah, he'll have chances. I'm not sure. Isak home to Tottenham, Watkins away to Leicester. Just saying. I'm not sure Isak is the sacrifice. Anyway, you want to downgrade Solanke now for a sub 7 million forward. Already have Muniz. Would you wait another week as I have bench cover? I mean, it depends what that bench cover is, Tom. You know, got bench cover, got Harry Winks, buy something. Look, for a little bit of context, my debate was obviously to play like Murphy or Bumo or buy Muniz. Is your bench cover as strong as that? Callum says, hi, would you bench Saliba or Rodgers? I would play Saliba. John says, hi James, what are your thoughts on Mateta? I feel like swapping Solanke for him, probably stupid as I can afford Havertz, but where's the crack in that? Thanks. Is Mateta going to play? It's a probable, isn't it? How gutted are you if he doesn't? And then it's Chelsea away next week and he's like, oh, I don't know, did I really want that? I don't know. Are you better off looking at something even really short term, like even Wood still, Southampton away, Wolves at home? Or Adam Armstrong, Forest at home, Brentford away, and then moving that then back on? Maybe. If I'd have had clarity on Mateta playing, I'd have been really tempted to go that route as kind of the 1 week punt for me this week as well. Scored twice against West Ham towards the end of last season. I don't know, man. I can't give you an answer on that feels good. Snake Midford says, on free hit, Kulusevski or Garnacho? Oof. I do think Decky will play, but my confidence in that is about 70%. My Garnacho confidence would be 90% plus, but obviously Tottenham have got the better fixture to caveat that as well. Kulusevski could play as the 9 today. That's what I've got in my predicted team. Kind of asked James Stream yesterday, I was sort of 60% him starting. Now I'm about 75%. Really importantly, in embargoed quotes last night, it came out that Ange had said Richarlison is ready to go, but there's no way he can play 90 minutes. That doesn't mean some won't play through the middle. It feels more sensible to me that Kulusevski starts through the middle and Richarlison finishes the game through the middle. That feels more sensible to me, actually. Kulusevski, I'd go Kulusevski, mate. I punt the upside. I think United will get beat today. Savant Singh says, hi James, standout goalkeeper and 4.5 defender other than Robinson for you on wildcard. For me, I don't know. I looked at a few last night, looked at Areola and Fabianski, but I'm also looking at the idea of just going with Raya. Henderson is not ruled out. I don't like wildcarding into the Chelsea away fixture though. It's a little bit off-putting. There's a number of different combinations, and it might even be something like Ramsdale goes to Forest, or and then I'd consider something like that. Whereas I wouldn't be that put off by Ramsdale at Southampton even for a little bit maybe, if he goes there, or even Bournemouth. So plenty of options for goalkeepers. It feels like the least important decision. Will Vitali says, morning James, missed out on the Quansah price drop. Who should I start this week as my third defender between Hall or Harwood Bellis? Have Trent and Robinson starting? I'd chance Harwood Bellis this week. I've backed him for a clean sheet. So, usual caveats if you've got Chris Wood on your team as well, I'd start Hall. Patrick Gordat says, pick 2 on wildcard. Foden, Son, Saka or Palmer. No Salah, no Haaland. If I was doing that now, this week, I'd possibly go Saka or Foden. It wouldn't be Son. You're going to want to move that next week. So, great this week potentially, but you're going to want to move it next week, fairly certain. Definitely Saka. Again, just because a little bit of captaincy coverage in place, I think, to be competitive on captaincy in game week 6 against Haaland and Salah. So definitely Saka as the priority. Then it's possibly a flip between Foden and Palmer. If you've got the availability of funds, there's certainly a case to say Palmer, maybe even like for this period 2 to 5, then make a decision. Make a decision on Foden, maybe game week 7 might be a better set. Nigel Sam says, hi James, is it worth to do -4 to take Murphy out? Can afford up to 6.9. Like, if you don't know where you're going, Nigel, no. John Harris says, Eze and Armstrong in for Murphy and Solanke -4, worth it. Allows for Isak to Watkins next week. Again, what I said about Isak to Watkins. But buying Eze and Armstrong in principle, you're fine. I can't give you a particularly good reason not to do that. Ayub says Muniz and Foden or Havertz and Kulusevski. Like, if you're investing now, it's not Kulusevski. For your man on the free hit, it's fine. Kulusevski is not a player that you want next week. Simple as that. Mustafa Gaming says, morning James, who's the best strikers option for 1 week using wildcard next week? Have Haaland, Isak, nothing in bank. Cheers. Well, I've gone Muniz, mate. So Curry says, hi James, on a similar bench boost path as you and Solanke news quite a blow. I can move either Bruno or Odegaard to KDB Foden with a free transfer, but can't decide which move. Would you talk me into both for a -4? No, I won't talk you into both. I think Foden does start today. I think KDB almost definitely starts. And that's why I rate KDB higher this week. Foden, on the longer term prospect, I rate higher than KDB. So it does a little bit depend on what you're doing as well. How short term or long term is this decision? 1 week, possibly KDB. Longer, go to Foden. Caveat being, Bruno and Odegaard might both have decent weekends. Was there a player more unlucky than Fernandes in terms of underperformance last week? No, they're decent historical record against Brighton as well, I think. Murphy says, I'm one of the unlucky blokes that had Quansah, Barco, Johnson and Solanke. Oosh. Sold Quansah. I mean, Johnson probably starts today, right? So it's fine. Sold Quansah in the week to avoid the drop. Sangari, my only bench cover. Shall I -4 Solanke out for Muniz or Mateta? Again, how long is this decision over? So if you're looking for a number of weeks here and you think, right, this is going to be my guy, Solanke to Muniz for me. Lee Duncan would like to say hello to everybody. No messages coming in as yet. Sorry, I got the thing charging at the same time if you're wondering why I keep looking away. Alex says, morning James, am I mad to be taking a -4 already? Smith Rowe and Solanke to Jota and Muniz. Already have Leno and Robinson, so can't go straight from Solanke to Muniz. 3 Fulham, wanting 4. What the... this feels like you want Jota, which is fine. Removing Smith Rowe as part of that this week. Don't feel right though, mate. I don't hate it though. I think Smith Rowe's still working his way fitness-wise. I don't mind it, you know. I feel like my answer should be no, but I don't mind it. Brock Miller says, hi James, new to FPL and following your feed. I thought you could only have 3 players from one team. However, you have 4 for Spurs. Well, I don't now. And the reason I had 4 from Spurs is because I locked my team in on the Sunday before the week started with Solanke in my team whilst he was still a Bournemouth player, and then didn't touch it for the whole week in the build-up to game week 1. Had I touched it at all, I would have had to remove a Tottenham player, and I didn't. Guy Rimon says, will Kulusevski start as forward? Kind of covered, Guy. I'm not sure. That's in my predicted team. But it could easily be Richarlison through the middle. It could easily be Son through the middle. It wouldn't even shock me, as I said on the team news stream for our patrons yesterday, it wouldn't even shock me if Odegaard goes straight in. I don't think that's impossible either. Unlikely, but not impossible. He wouldn't go up front, by the way. He would go right wing. Daniel Cullerton says, who would you prefer on wildcard, KDB or Foden? Foden, because we're looking at a little longer term. Fire says, bench 1 of Smith Rowe and Kunku, Gordon or Wood? With reluctance and Kunku. Tom Hudson says, hi James, thanks for the great content. Draft question, start 2 of Walker, Aki, Kanate and Rice. Good luck for the game week. Well, Kanate and Rice will start, so we think Kanate will start. The other 2 probably don't start, to take pick. Is Aki a little bit more likely than Walker because we think Lewis will play? Maybe yes. But I've not got either of them City players in my predicted team, mate. Ali McDonald says, Solanke to Watkins now or roll and play Smith Rowe. Cheers, James. That sounds like a roll. Also, you know, you think Solanke's going to dip in price tonight. So you got to kind of think a step ahead here. Solanke's going to go tonight. You're going to have the urge to do it. But if Watkins blanks tonight, there's every chance he's going to go down in price as well. Is that an impact on you towards your decision-making process? I think, look, you're looking fairly strong there with Smith Rowe. It's a case to say, wait. It's a case to say, wait. And again, you know, if something happened to Watkins tonight, maybe it's a different decision. Kari says, do you think the current Bellingham would get into the prime Cruz, Modric, Casemiro midfield at Real Madrid? He's a very different profile player, so I guess it would depend in terms of what management wanted. But yes, probably, mate. Gazma says, morning, James. On a free hit this week, Rico, KDB and Haaland, the 3 you'd get from City if you couldn't afford Vardy. Good luck this week, mate. I'm not in love with the Lewis pick. Like, I think if we're sitting here and we've got to the international break and then the Champions League fixtures, like, oh shit, Rico Lewis has started 4-5 in a row, then, you know, what's the worst case scenario? It's going to be 4-7 or so. We're still going to buy him. I'm not keen on that. Not keen. I'm not sure there's a necessity to have the free City. For me personally, I think if I was wildcarding right now, I'd be pushing for Vardy, Foden and Haaland, I think. Danny Burns says, start Quansah or start Bellis. Good luck as always. I think it's Bellis, probably. I mean, my predictions would suggest that as well. I don't think Quansah is going to start based on Slot's comments yesterday. I think he's kind of laid the groundwork for the excuse, hasn't he? Sam Emerson says, morning, James. The wildcard 2 trigger pulled last night with Solanke and other news after bench boost 1. Diaz or Rodgers on wildcard long term. So if it's not a starter this week, then I think Rodgers. If it is, then Burton Diaz. Adam Stevo says, morning, James. You got an idea for your wildcard picks yet? Yeah, kind of covered a few, yeah. Greg Frost says, I'll just be playing the market like late tonight if I wildcard, but I definitely need Watkins to get through tonight. It's not impossible that I don't do it. I wouldn't be left in great shape for next week, but if I didn't have Watkins, I'd be going, that's the front 3 I'm going with. And you start, I'd keep Trent, I'd keep Porro, I'd keep Saliba, I'd possibly keep Ray, and you think, okay, it's just the midfield. Oh, and Bumo's got Southampton at home next week. It's not a certainty that I'm going to do it. What I would say is I'm looking at the structure is what I'm really looking at. So I want to have obviously keep on a 4.0. I want to have like a Trent. This is kind of definite. I want to have a 6.0. I want to have Porro value. I want to have like a 4.5 value. I want a 4.0. Midfield, I want two of the under premiums under Salah. I want a 7.5. I want a 6.5. Up front, I want two under Haaland. And then it's kind of like Muniz habits, and that will affect the rest of it. Structure is going to be really important because I want to plan transfers properly like I would for Sky. That'll obviously change, no doubt. But I think once I've wildcarded, I can use the strategy I've had in Sky in the past to serve me well. It's not impossible that I wildcard and leave a few million in the bank, for example, with moves planned. That's a possibility. So I want to kind of look at my ideal team and work backwards from there. Who's next? Greg Frost says, I was considering Son and Solanke to Watkins and Eze tonight for free, all being well, decent. Yeah, fine, mate. You want to sell Son tonight, I'm fairly certain of that. Even if he goes off, mate. FC Paul says, morning, James. Opinion on Barco loan in terms of reflecting on how seriously we read into pre-season. Look, I think we all just read it wrong. But there isn't a single Brighton fan even that would tell you that they thought Jack Hinshelwood would start left back last week. None. I think there's also the impact of Estupiñán has recovered a little bit quicker than expected. They're obviously buying a left back, so the possibility to buy someone, is it Kadioglu, is it? I think. Is it the guy who played for Turkey in the Euros? I think it is, isn't it? I quite liked him. I can understand why Brighton are making that transfer. I'd said after watching one of their games, I was like, I like him. I think it might have been after they played Austria. So maybe the opportunity to buy that player is obviously what's changed it. If they didn't buy that player, maybe Barco stays. Maybe he competes. So they're going, right, we want to invest in this one. Let's look at it. It's every chance he's stupid and maybe goes to a different club next summer, for example, and then he comes back. So, okay, we've read it wrong. But I don't think it was a pre-season thing. He played a fair bit towards the end of last season as well. And that can go both ways. Look at me, right? Kulusevski's pre-season form didn't start last weekend. So yes, but for every negative on that, it's on our psyche. There's positives of that as well. We go, oh, okay, this did prove okay for me. What we learned on, say, Jota's going to definitely play as the 9, right? So it depends how you look at your psyche. I won't be put off. I think there is a danger that we can always read too much onto it. Where it gives us the most clues is on minutes. And honestly, I had Barco to start last week, and so did pretty much majority of other people. It was wrong. Scott Alvarez says, good morning, how are you? I am very well, Scott. I hope you are too. Peter says, good luck, James, and to you too, mate. Anson Phillips says, so good to have these streams back. Who's the best one-week punt, Jackson, Mateta or Havertz? From that lot, Mateta, if I knew he would start. But I don't. Why is it not Muniz? You already got him. I mean, based on my predictions, the answer there is Havertz. Ollie Hunt says, James, I've wildcarded this week and I have had Saka in the team all week until the Solanke news. At this moment in time, I've straight swapped Saka for Son. Any thoughts? Yeah, go back to Saka, mate. Yeah. You're gonna want to reverse that tonight. So it depends. Are you setting up, okay, I want to take Heung-min Son as 1 week punt, Everton at home, and then move that to Saka? Fine, if that's your strategy and your setup. If it's not, and I want Son for weeks on end over Saka, I can't give you a reason for that at the moment. And in the Das says, hi James, hope you're doing well. What's your opinion about Son captain this week? And would you sell Haaland or Isak to get Salah, have money in the bank? Definitely not selling Haaland this week, mate. Just to give you a flavour as well on expectation here. So I polled the patrons last night on captaincy this week, and it's fairly straightforward for everyone. But I asked, I gave a couple of options and also gave 2 Haaland options, captain or triple captain. I think 73% of our patrons are going to captain Haaland this week. Oh my God, that's low. 12% on top going to triple captain him. So that, I think, gives you a flavour of what's going on here. Then going up towards sort of 10% Salah And then pretty much anyone else is on Jota rather than Son. Look, narratives to captaining Son this week will be because of Everton, not because of Son. So, could he do well in today's fixture? Of course he could. If Tarkowski doesn't play as well, that Everton backline is proper makeshift. And he might even play through the middle as well. And he could go off massive today. He could. I'm going Jota over him. Make of that what you will. William Marsh says Barco to Lewis or Nkunku to Eze. Yeah, I spoke quite a bit on Ask James yesterday about the temptation of Nkunku to Eze, and I really understand that. Barco to Lewis, I'm not keen on that, and I feel like if you wait a week, you're going to make a different decision where maybe, say, going with like Konsa or Pau Torres for Villa's run and then I can leave that really longer term as maybe even a fourth defender, might be a better play. I definitely get the Eze temptation. If I was on Nkunku, I wouldn't want to sell at the moment though, either. I think, in all honesty, as long as I was set okay and had a decent team this week, I'd probably be rolling with that and not doing either. Jonathan says, hi mate, on free hit this week, playing it my way. Do you prefer Muniz and Smith Rowe or Muniz and one of Brereton, Diaz or Armstrong? I think Muniz and Brereton, Diaz, yeah, is the way I'd probably do that. Ryan Max says, hi James. Thanks for the great content. As always, enjoy the football. Hoping for a Sun masterclass. So am I, by the way, mate. And I hope anyone does captain, I hope they're the big winners this week. Ryan Max says, hi James. That's what done. Another Hoops morning, mate. Thoughts on Szoboszlai versus one of the 5.5 mids. I'm thinking Brereton, Diaz or Smith Rowe. I think on what we've seen so far, there's reason to be very interested in Szoboszlai at 6.5. I'm massively put off by the fact that Liverpool haven't bought anyone yet. And they might. And I think that should come as a caveat for pretty much all interesting Liverpool players at this moment. I think I'd go Brereton Diaz again. It's timing. Birth Media says, Jimbo, who plays 9 for Spurs now? I mean, Solanke, hopefully as quickly as next week. And again, in Ange's embargoed quotes last week, Ange had said to the written media, which is why it was embargoed so late, he said it's not like he's out for 5 weeks. He's still got a chance of playing at Newcastle next week. And pretty much said, he'll be available for game week 4, worst case. So today, if he was fit enough to play 90, Richarlison would start, and it's no question. But what I keep thinking in my mind is, Ange said Richarlison can't play 90. So what, under the circumstance where if Richarlison starts and say it's 0-0 or it's 1-1 and Tottenham's still pushing for a goal, you want to take him off? It feels better to do that the other way round to me. So I think Richarlison would be a sub. I think then if Solanke is unavailable next week, Richarlison will start at Newcastle under that circumstance. Let me sell it like that. But Ange picks the team, not me. Scott Alvarez says, what do you make of this move? Solanke to Armstrong, Luis Diaz to KDB. I will captain KDB in wildcard game week 3. I can just play Dalot over Solanke and roll otherwise. I don't mind that. Particularly when you're saying, captain KDB. Yeah. If that's the one you want, there's some justification for that, Scott, so I don't mind. Oliel, Foden or KDB? As covered, this week specifically, I think maybe KDB. Longer term thinking Foden. Eric Vol Lid says, why is João Pedro so high up on the bench in dilemmas? My plan was to start Lewis Hall over him. Why? Because I think he starts for Brighton this weekend. I think it was one of the unluckiest players last week. He performed really well in Brighton's last game at the Amex, which admittedly was obviously a friendly against Villarreal. We know the vulnerabilities potentially of United defensively. I'm backing Brighton to win today. Lewis Hall over João Pedro. Can I be honest? If you're thinking of benching João Pedro at home to Manchester United, I'd be questioning why you bothered starting with him. So, yeah, I'd be playing João Pedro, mate. I considered João Pedro for me, rather than Muniz. Considered it. That was arguably the next alternative for me. Patrick says, good morning. Have 5.5 in the bank after wildcard for a midfielder. Smith Rowe or Minter. Prefer Minter long term. It could be a 1-point cameo today. I'm confident he'll start. There's also then the fixture next week as well. And you can get Smith Rowe, Leicester, Ipswich and flip it maybe even. So it feels like the more sensible call would be to say Smith Rowe. But again, I'm going to put forward Ben Brereton Diaz's name. Bald Bean Counter says, Richarlison going to start his old club and get another hat-trick. Lol. He didn't get a hat-trick against them last season. Again, shout for our patrons. If obviously we've got any potential team news coming through, please tag me into whatever the info is on Slack. I'm just going to keep an eye on a few messages whilst I do that as well. So no, didn't get a hat-trick last year. I've got 3 goals against them now across the 2 games. Sting in the tail. Would you take a -4 to replace Solanke or just play Rodgers? If it was me, I would not have taken a -4 for Muniz. I would have just been playing Murphy this week, for example. Why not Bumo? Just sitting there with a double Liverpool defence. I'd rather go with the all-in strategy, personally. Bald Eagle returning to Selhurst Park on match days. No one cared about that, did they? Other than Eagles fans. No, I wouldn't -4 it, I don't think. But, again, if you are looking longer term, then yeah, sure. Jake says, morning, James. No dilemmas for me this week, despite the Solanke news. Good luck for the week. And everyone, leave a like. Thank you very much. Smash a like, people. What's percentage-wise we on a like here? Oof. Disgusting. Not even 20% smashed a like. Someone would say, come on, freeloaders. Keith Redfield says, good morning, James. Everyone, good luck this weekend. Also, who plays Nkunku or Eze? As in, you got a choice between the 2. I mean, you wouldn't not start Eze this week. That's a certainty. Ollie Hunt says, James, I've wildcarded this week and I've had Saka in the team all week. And I've already covered that, Ollie. Do yourself a favour, mate. I just mute people in here who ask the same questions over and over again. So I'll give you the opportunity to delete them. Otherwise, you won't be asking a question here next week, mate. Andrew Jarvis says, hello, mate. Final decision on wildcard. Saliba or Robertson until game week 6. Until that period, I mean, I guess the answer is Robertson, isn't it? Just on the fixtures. But, is that a transfer you want to make in game week 6? Is it better just to leave Saliba there? I think factor that. So it's not just Saliba versus Robertson, because you wouldn't, if you do it the other way, you ain't going to buy Robertson in 6, but you might buy Saliba. So it's not just straight, which one's better for 4 weeks? Because you're going to buy the other one in 6 if you don't start with them. So factor that in. It's the 2 verses plus a transfer, Andrew. Wolfie says, play Robinson or Bumo. Thanks, James. Robinson. Just about. I keep saying a lot of people seem to be benching this. Don't love that. But when I did the benching dilemmas, I can understand why. Stuart Robinson, not that Anthony Robinson. Hello, James. Who would you go with, Rashford or Smith Rowe? Not Rashford. D.80 says, hi, James. Do you think a failed triple captainship today is season defining? I went Haaland over Salah specifically for this fixture, but feeling less confident as we approach the deadline. Nah, it's just kind of the opposite to the FOMO that the rest of us who don't own him would feel, right? For example. So, no. He could go off injured after 10 minutes. Is that defining for your season? No, mate. No, it's not, mate. He's so overblown, the triple captaincy chip as well. It's another reason why I don't mind if people just want to get it used, right? Ollie Hunt says, James, I've wildcarded this week. That's what I've done. Murphy or Wood, James, to start. Predictions would say Murphy, but I think because of the talisman nature of Chris Wood, you'd start with him. And you may very much disagree with my prediction for Southampton to keep a clean sheet. Richard Nyquist, hello, my friend, says, hey, man, who's your favourite Jamaican footballer of all time? Hope the bladder is all right. It's a patron in joke from Tottenham Arse this week, which you could listen to on www.patreon.com/planetfpl, an epic 20-minute story of my journey to Leicester, which ended interestingly very late. Best Jamaican footballer of all time. Crap. Or you said my favourite, didn't you? Favourite. trying to think of Tottenham had anyone who's played for Jamaica. I can't think of anyone. Oh gosh, Shaka Hislop. I like Shaka. Something I can think of. Robbie Earl. My brain goes so far back. It's like yesterday, right? Those who listen to the Ask James stream, I'm getting asked what's my favourite ever Tottenham hat trick, and I'm scanning through 30 years worth of Tottenham games, thinking about hat tricks, and all I could think in my head was Premier League games. Never thought about Europe. So Lucas Moura at Ajax, how many times did I mention it? But the clear one is Gareth Bale in the San Siro, and I was at both as well. Gareth Bale was the answer. Gareth Bale in the San Siro, and then Lucas Moura in Amsterdam. For quality, it's got to be the Bale one in the San Siro. Chims is start 3. Excuse me. Bailey, Kamada, Hudson-Odoi, Munoz, Hall. At least one defender. So Munoz over Hall. And then from the other 3, I think Bailey and Kamada, I think, Chim. That will probably be the highest on X-Mins as well. I don't think it's impossible that Hudson-Odoi doesn't play today, by the way. Just based on things that I saw of Southampton watching back the game against Newcastle. And Mark Southerns has spoken about this, that he wouldn't be surprised if in certain away games the likes of Hudson-Odoi and Nalanga didn't play. I wouldn't be that shocked if they really firmed that up today. So it would be clear for me, Bailey, Kamada. But I also get, you may have some in Arsenal defence and don't want Bailey to contradict against that. So I think definitely Kamada. Bailey, depending on if you want all-in strategy or not, but on the face of it, Bailey over Hudson-Odoi. Ren says, bench Robinson, Smith-Rowe or Colwell. Dana J says, hi James, best of luck for the game week and hope you're enjoying the season. I'm back this season after skipping it for the last one. Good luck, mate. Hope you enjoy it. Tom G says, am I mad to bench Watkins for Smith-Rowe? And also, is it Smith-Rowe over Robinson? Thanks, James. Have a good one. Shit, Shaka Hislop played for Trinidad. Thanks, Suj. Cheers. Okay, Mikel Antonio then. Thanks, Suj. There's going to be loads of put that in the chat probably. Right. Suj doing me on football knowledge. Yeah, it's so true. What an idiot. Don't bench Watkins. Yeah, if you've got like double Arsenal defence, it's like, okay, fine. Watkins, got to ask yourself, what if Villa did do well today? He's always going to be at the heart of it, isn't he? Tom G says, the Mole Man says, good morning, James. Saliba or Hall? Saliba. Andy Mack, morning, James. Did Big Dom to Muniz last night, so just wanted to say good luck for the game week, mate. Wolves for the win. Good luck, Andy. Andrew M says, have a good day at the ground. We could use a multiple goal win or a clean sheet. I'm on wildcard after bench boost game week 1. I'm not. By the time I've read all the names, Andrew, I'm going to have forgotten half the names, mate. So I just want to say good luck, mate. Gary White says, Anderson, last comment was from Silver. Transfer not yet confirmed, so unlikely to play this weekend. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that he might not. It doesn't mean he wasn't registered behind the scenes. I do think, throw him straight in over Diop. Yeah, it's probably unlikely. Hillbilly says, good day, James. Solanke to Muniz, worth it to bench, and Kunku, Smith-Rowe or Minter. We're to hold off to look at Watkins next week. I think you've answered your own question, mate, and it's probably hold off. JF says, start Harwood Bellis or Winks. Yes, this is where we are. Harwood Bellis, mate. Almost Seko says, hi, James. Plan to hold Solanke to bring in Watkins with 2 FT next week or tonight. Thing is, that means starting Bergvall or Mosquera. Am I being naive for thinking I might get away? Well, I think on that, you probably just got to start Mosquera and hope for the clean sheet, mate. It would be the right advice, I think, on that. Bergvall's not going to start, mate. I don't think you can get through more than 45 at the moment. He'll be involved, and, he could get you something off the bench. But the smart money there's got to be, look, could Wolves, Chelsea be 0-0 or 1-0? You've got to go that way, haven't you? Savanch says, hi, James. Would you get Nkunku on wildcard this week? Already going Palmer, if not, any 6.5 alternatives you like? Yeah, Garnacho, just for consistency, and you guys will probably know by now, I think he'll have a great season. Bailey, the real temptation, I think, because of the timing. Sorry, I'm just double checking if there's any potential team leaks or anything. I've seen one, but I don't know the source, so I'm not gonna repeat that. Again, patrons, if we've got anything, let me know on Slack if we've got any news coming in, but I don't think there is at the moment. I don't think I would wildcard Nkunku into mate. I want next week out the way to at least have the transfer window shut, I think. It becomes way more appealing if Chelsea don't buy a forward this week, but they probably do. And then you've got another layer of kind of insecurity added in going into next week. So, if it were me, I'd probably at this minute be going Bailey, or more likely I'd go something like Ben Brereton Diaz and even hold the money and just consider my options. That might even also leave your life easier to get Watkins next week. Timothy says Dunk or Sonka. Who's Sonka, mate? Sonka. Anyone know who Sonka is? By the time you tell me, it'd be too late. Sorry, don't know who Sonka is. Harun Mohammed says, is it worth Garnacho to Mitoma? Mitoma's a great shout as well for 2. But to wildcard 6.5 now, but you don't want to look at Arsenal next week. Is it worth Garnacho to Mitoma or keep Garnacho for this week? I'd be keeping Garnacho under that circumstance, mate. Patrick Winterbottom says, hi James, hello. Alex Brumster says, hi, sold Quanza this week of Solanke and only Sangari, Konsa, Ben Johnson as cover. Would you take a hit for Muniz Armstrong? Again, if you're thinking longer term here, and you think, I'm gonna have, if I take a hit for Muniz, I'm gonna have Muniz for like the next 4 or 5 weeks or so. Yeah, get it done. Jack Lloyd, morning James. Favourite 4 million defender if on wildcard after bench boost one. Currently deciding between Greaves and Mosquera. I mean, look, if you need right now, I'd throw Harwood Bellis into that mix as well because of, if you need for this week. Yeah, what I might be looking at is something like Konsa, I think, for me next week. Like carry as a nice cover for up to Wolves' good fixtures and maybe have Mosquera as the 5th defender. But also want to see what business Wolves do this week. It's unlikely, but Wolves could do some business this week that changes the Mosquera thing. I think it's an easier one for me to pick up next week. Greaves, probably. Grabana Gruce says, would you have Haaland on wildcard this week? I mean, look, if I was wildcarding this week, he'd pretty much have to go in. It's one of my reasons not to doing it is so that I can get absolutely killed this week, just because, right? Jonathan Gordon says, it's the same discussion about the same 20 players with every content creator. Sorry, mate. Why do you think that is? Why? I haven't listened to another piece of content this week from anyone. So, but do we all watch games in the same way? People looking all at the same players. I've definitely mentioned a lot more than 20 players here. And yeah, of course, we are. What do you want me to say? Oh, Solanke's injured. Yeah, go and buy Hurst from Ipswich. Like, you've got to be of a real justification to kind of look beyond Muniz at this moment when it even opens up the people for the money for Watkins next week and stuff as well, right? Of course, people are going to come to similar conclusions, mate. I explained similar with like a gripe of, Henderson's ownership is massive with content creators. Well, there's a reason for that. It's not because everyone's copying each other. It's because people came to the same conclusion as I explained on this stream last week. Lewis says, would you start on Nkunku or Gordon? And also struggling between Gabriel or Robinson. I mean, I'd probably start Gordon over on Nkunku, I think. Gabriel or Robinson is close. Just the favouritism with Gabriel based on my predictions. Savanch says, standout 4.5 defender on wildcard this week other than Robinson. That's the one. Mark Gay's Palace captain now, isn't he? Is he going to stay? Is he going to stay? You don't want to go... It's Villa, but you don't want to go there because the Arsenal fixture this week. The best one for this week specifically is possibly like a Van der Ven, but you don't want to do that either. I think if it was me, I'd have been leaving the Villa position in place, I think, personally. Sam says, hi, James, but Robinson is the right answer, mate. Sam says, hi, James, currently bench boosting with a bench of Henderson, Smith Rowe, Murillo and Hall. Also have Nkunku and Porro in the starting 11. Any risks among those players that should stop me playing the chip? There's no risk to Nkunku or Porro as far as I'm concerned. Nkunku will certainly get minutes. Look, the game is on Sunday. That was one of the risks I took last week was, oh shit, locking in Friday to the game on Monday. Someone could get injured training over the weekend, right? But no, you should be okay there, mate. Adam Stevo, wildcard game week 3. Would you keep Bruno and Kunku going forward? Love the content. Ask me next week, mate. Don't see me going Bruno Fernandes next week personally, and Kunku's a maybe. Timothy says Dunk or Konsa. Again, what do you need it for? How often do you need it? Is Dunk like, oh, cover me Saliba for Arsenal's 2 fixtures? Is that the sort of thing you're looking at and why he's under consideration? Like, there's a reason you've mentioned Dunk here, Timothy, or is it just because they returned last week? Because the fixtures, other than 4 and 5, which is when Arsenal's are bad, is pretty ugly. I wouldn't pick Dunk over Saliba this week as an example. Tim Harrison says Munoz or Welbeck or both. Got Salah and Haaland captain. Is this the start, Tim? Yeah, if I had Welbeck, I'd be starting him this week. Nothing as far as leaks are accurate at this stage, guys. We are circa 10 minutes from deadline. And not hearing anything at this stage in terms of something confirmed. And I know there's a few that might particularly be waiting on Garnacho news, particularly after what happened last week. I'm sure there'll be something close to deadline. No, doesn't look like there's anything going about at the moment as far as I can see. Who's next? If I haven't got to your question, if you haven't submitted a question yet, guys, by the way, there's next to no chance of me getting to it before deadline, so I wouldn't bother. I will try and rattle through these, though, guys. Rudy says, morning, James. Havertz or Watkins for Solanke? Left 2 million in the bank. Watkins is green. The fixtures, but he looked pretty leggy against West Ham. Cheers, have a top weekend. How important is this week to you? I think under that circumstance, I'll just be going to Watkins. John Smith says, which two are Robinson, Hall, Murphy, Cho? Thanks for the content. To start, I'd go Robinson, Murphy. Jonathan Gordon says, hi, James. Should I put my pants on before my socks? Should I put toothpaste on the brush before I brush? Why is water wet? Why is the sky blue? Blah, blah, blah. To answer your questions, yes. Because you probably sit down to put your socks on, and then you might want to sit down again and put your shoes on. So always pants first. Toothpaste on a brush, yeah, given. Why is water wet? Why is the sky blue? Don't know, mate. At the moment, the sky's grey. Abdritzik Omar, sorry if I butchered that. What's their percentage that cash starts? This week, it's probably about 90% or so, mate. James Morgan, you should apply for a role at Spurs, but what job could you do for them? Analysis, defensive set piece coach, maybe. Rip27 says, hi James, trying to save transfers but have 1.5 million in the bank. Bench Big Dom and play Minter or transfer Dom to Watkins. Minter's a great one to bring in this week. I think he'll play, mate. I do think he'll play. Adam Zorsi, I'm in the same boat. I'm holding Solanke, rolling, using 2 FT in game with 3 Solanke to Watkins and Kunku down to Rob. Rogers understand that. Matthew Hall says start Hall or Rogers. I wouldn't expect anything off either. How much Arsenal defence you've got is going to decide that, Matthew, rather than the verses, I think. God, it's never ending on our FPL channel on Slack. But nothing team news wise that I can share as far as I can see. Get Swifty says Isak as cap option instead of Salah. So if you've got a big fancy for Alexander Isak away to Bournemouth, I don't mind that. Isak, people will know by now what I think, and again, I wouldn't want to be getting rid of him next week, and I genuinely might captain Alexander Isak next week. Bobby Red says, is Salah, Jota, Diaz too much Liverpool in my team? Nope. Might want a defensive one, though. William Marsh says, morning, James. Is Son to Foden a good transfer for long term after the blank on Monday night? Oh, you're talking about last Monday night in terms of Son blanking. Don't make that transfer this week, mate. Foden's not even a guaranteed starter, mate. Adam Zorsi says, do you think big front 3 plus big back 3 plus value 5.5, 7.5 mids viable? Is it viable? Yeah, but what happens as soon as you want one of them mids above 7.5? And you will. Structure more important, I think. Neil says, would you swap Gabriel for Vardiol? No. Almost says, asked about being naive in thinking I might get away with starting Bergvall over Solanke. Just to add context, I have Robinson and Smith Rowe, not keen on tripping it up with Muniz. Oh, just play the Fulham players, mate. Torfig says, is Kudu starting 9 or at the right? Covered near the start, Torfig. Adam says, on wildcard, need a 1 week striker punt up to 9 million, who I will transfer out for Watkins next week. Richarlison worth it. Not guaranteed as a starter, mate. It's Muniz. Zamvime says, yeah, he played for Turkey. He's having a medical today. That's the new Brighton left back. Theo Lewis says, have you ever had a successful triple captain on a double game week? Yeah. Who did I triple captain last season? Shit, I can't remember. It was Rashford the year before. That was 20 pointer times 3. Who did I triple captain last year? Remember? Feels like it must have been Haaland, but I'm not sure. I genuinely don't know who I triple captain last year. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Once it's gone, it's gone. I don't remember FPL historically like I remember just football. I have no idea I triple captain last year. Surely it was Haaland. Wasn't it? I don't know. Zach, on wildcard, I can't think it was bad though, because if it was bad, I'm sure I would remember it. Zach says on wildcard, Palmer or KDB? Palmer. Niels says, thoughts on taking out Nkunku for Bumo and downgrading Murphy for Rodgers? Okay. Why are we buying Bumo this week? Next week, sure. This is not conversation for this week. FPL Risk Taker says, hi James, nice to have this again. Shivam says, played one of DCL Hall, Harwood Bellis. Make a case for Harwood Bellis. Reality is, if you haven't got Porro, correct answer here is Calvert-Lewin. Just checking a couple of messages. Gary, thank you, Gary. Gary said I triple captain Haaland last year, blank versus Chelsea, and then the 1 goal against Brentford, which I think was a 10-pointer. Which wasn't what we'd hoping from 2 games from Haaland. Thank you, Gary. Spot on. That's definitely the case. And Amber, you're very welcome as well, mate. No probs at all. What bloody question am I answering here? Harwood Bellis, play. Jonathan Hidges, Solanke to Isak. Don't mind that at all. Sahil says Gordon or Smith Rowe. I'd be playing Gordon, I think. James says, morning, James, bench 1, Gusto, Dunk, Robinson. Any reason Alexander not on potential captain? This is, I'm thinking of captain. Dunk, probably. You want a Captain Trent? Captain Trent, mate. Douglas Dimlick says, bench 1, Armstrong, Brennan Johnson, Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe, reluctantly. Swiss Wavy, Son will definitely do well. I've sold him for Foden. There you go. There's confirmation. MJ, Gabriel Robinson this game week. Just Gabriel for me. Tashion says, which one to bench? Hall, White or Gay? Hall, I think. Josh Davis, who would your goalkeepers be had you hit the wildcard button? I think if I'd have been forced in now, I'd have gone Raya and a 4.0. Gavin Richardson, I'd have been more tempted to go Henderson maybe if it was this week. Gavin Richardson, hey babes, can you stop that Clayton trying to flog my Bruno G to Man City, and can we bench boost Suj till he sorts his mic out? Love COTC this week. Chelsea, haha. Suj is due a mic delivery this week. He's been very restricted in terms of where he's been able to record, unfortunately. Adrian, good luck. I'm not reading your team out, mate. Galazzo says Mateta for Solanke or play Hall for Bournemouth and Spurs. Yeah, I can see the Mateta temptation. Again, nothing coming in terms of reliable team news as it stands. John Allen, everyone's sleeping on United. They've sorted their defence. Have they? They sorted their midfield, though. Adrian says, considering Gabriel to Vardiol, since my team should be good for 5 game week, this is recommended. Are you not? The thing is, are you not just going to switch it back? Is it 2 transfers? Imagine that. Does Vardiol outscore Gabriel over the next 4 game weeks or so? Probably yes. Do you end up making 2 transfers to make that happen, though? Got to think about these things. Brandon Smith says, what would have been your best game week 2 wildcard team? No idea, mate, but Haaland would have been in it. Philip Sveden says, Barco or Quanza to Robinson. I mean, if just been Barco at this stage, would do that. Gavin Richardson says, I have a Solanke issue. Use my free transfer. Looking to wildcard late. Gordon 7th attacker. Muniz for -4. 4 to 6 game horizon. Solanke has tough fixtures. I'm feeling it as Gordon bad away from home. You've already answered your question, Gavin. You don't need me to add anything. Can we find out if we will lost all our Man City player points when they get expelled? Game week 35. Kind of a serious question. There's no chance of you losing your points, mate. Because matches will be completed. Simple as that. JK Guna says, big up James. I'm doing Haaland / Nkunku to Salah Watkins. Do you perfect that in game week 3 or 4? I'm assuming it's meant to be prefer. Do I prefer that in 3 or 4? Selling Haaland before Brentford at home just means that I have to say 3, I think. JF says, hit the like button, you cowards. Again, nothing on team news. Minute to deadline, guys. Let's be getting locked in. CJ Stuck says, coming in wildcard. Should I save the transfer, sell Solanke before the drop? You're on wildcard. Don't have Solanke, mate. No. Just get rid. There's no way you're picking Solanke on wildcard, mate. Chopper says, hey, James, just able to tune in now. What's your opinion between starting Smith Rowe or Bailey? Leaning Smith Rowe due to Bailey playing Arsenal. You've answered your own question, mate. FPL Scope says, Shaka Hislop was Trinidadian. Sean says the same. Swiss Wavy, yep, getting that badly wrong. Cross FPL Cameron. Thanks, guys. Gavin Richardson talking about getting caught short toilet wares. Have you ever had to do the other thing behind a tree in a park? That's not a confession, by the way. That's one for Nico's Corner. No. Peed, yeah, shit, no. Baby Rig, any team news leak for Brighton United? The answer is no, as far as I can see. And I think, guys, that's probably us hitting deadline. And yes, Shaka Hislop was not Jamaican. He was Trinidadian. As another hoop says, Suj's ball knowledge 1, James's ball knowledge 0. Can't be argued that, really, can it? I wish you all the very best of luck. Sorry for those I didn't get to for your questions. If anybody has any non-FPL stuff, happy to cover it until 11:15 when we get the Brighton Manchester United team news, while I wait for a few non-FPL questions to arrive. Let me tell you about upcoming content. We'll be back on Tuesday because it's a bank holiday here in the UK this week. And therefore, I'm spending time with my boy and I'm not working. And that's the end of it. So the Game Review podcast will be on Tuesday. Clayton and James show Wednesday. Clash of the Correspondents on Thursday is Manchester United versus Liverpool with Gary Robinson and Dan Lord. Have 3 COTCs coming up for you over the international break, by the way. Friday will be Ask James. Probably will be 12 o'clock UK time again. I am conscious, though, that with so many presses at 1 o'clock this week, I might need to reassess that. I didn't have a choice this week because I had to pick Harry up from his summer school yesterday. So there's no way I could have done it any later. But I might reassess that because if there's going to be so many press conferences at 1 o'clock like there was yesterday, then Solanke news is something like that's going to clearly bite me, isn't it? Where I did preempt it on the stream. I was like, this could be out of date very quickly. Because I did think he'd probably play and be all right, and that was incorrect. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. I can tell you the podcast for intermediate plus tier and above patrons this week will be Q&A on Tuesday. Wednesday, probably Tottenham with myself and Suj. Thursday, Money in Football on John Texter, partial owner of Crystal Palace, also trying to buy Everton, interesting character. And our Game Week 3 preview podcast will be available on Friday as well. In terms of advanced tier content, video content this week, will be Nico's Corner on Tuesday, the midweek FPL Dilemma on Wednesday, which is highly likely to, I think by that point, probably me featuring probably what near enough. I know what I'm doing on Wildcard near enough. If I wildcard, which still isn't a certainty tonight, by the way. Talking Tactics Thursday on something to be confirmed, and the team news stream next Friday afternoon as well. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. It is genuinely true what Suj says. The patrons do keep the lights on. Streams like this, I promise you 100% no longer exist without the support of our patrons. So if you want to support the show or if you want additional content, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. I think that's it in terms of sell. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Non-FPL. Let's cover a few then. Asul Balaji says, I love the shirt, James. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I thought I'd stick it on first home game. I there's kind of a religious thing for me is generally to wear white for the first home game. But it's normally glorious sunshine, and it's not today. I might have to be putting a rain jacket on, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd have just gone like this actually today. Traditional to go white for the first home game. Chopper says, cheers for all the answers, mate. Very welcome. Mr. Twister242 says, great content again. Thanks, James. You're very welcome. Sweet Blue says, Black Box Boys on the Match of the Day Challenge tonight. Good luck to their sanity. Yes, absolutely. I know that they're doing that, and I presume Mark wasn't gonna. I didn't see Black Box this week. I presume Mark is not. He's going without Haaland. I presume, and obviously their teams are both playing today as well, aren't they? Brighton and Forest. I just couldn't do that. I just couldn't do it. Good luck to him and praise him. It would be brilliant content, and I recommend anyone watches that tonight. By the way. I might even do it myself, possibly. Subject to how the day goes and how much I feel I need to watch Match of the Day. It would be great entertainment. It's probably more, I'll just go and look at the kind of the key moments where I know they're going to lose their shit and stuff. But yeah, do watch that tonight. It'd be brilliant. Yeah, Mark's without the big man, says Victor. Yeah. For me, I just couldn't have a day like that and miss Spurs. I could definitely do the Match of the Day challenge. And I know people have asked for it. The problem is for me in doing it, and actually if I was ever going to do it, it would be something like today, I think, where I've got the extra day to catch up. For me to do the Match of the Day challenge without all the information I can learn on a Saturday for then doing the podcast on a Monday, and when I have a combination of time with the family and watch the other games on the Sunday, it's bad for me. You're going to get a shit podcast on a Monday. So, you get a bit of entertainment on Saturday. You get a shit podcast on a Monday. Mark and Az obviously will give themselves a bit more time for their analysis for later in the week. So that plays against me a bit. At some point, though, yeah, I think we'll do it at some point. But there's no way it's ever going to happen if Tottenham are playing. Not a chance. Not a chance that ever happens if Tottenham are playing. On a lighter week, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Won't rule it out. Maybe I'll end up in Hitchin with Az one day. Do a Black Box Planet FPL Match of the Day crossover. Although ultimately all the Black Box viewers would be like, "Where's Mark? Where's Mark?" Because if Mark's never not there, it's always, "Where's Mark?" They're brilliant, them guys. Francis Sogan says, good luck, Matt O'Reilly. Brighton use have bought a wand of a left foot. Use as in use have. I get it. Sorry, it wasn't an easy one for me to read originally. Yeah, very highly rated. Was linked with my club a little bit earlier in the window. And Tottenham are looking for that sort of maybe profiles. It's interesting we've not gone there. As far Tariq says, do you listen to any football podcast, non-FPL? If any, which one? No. Genuinely, I take in so little content of anything else. Don't have time particularly. Occasionally I listen to a Spurs podcast like the Extra Inch or the Fighting Cock, for example. But no, don't. I try and watch Black Box when I can. I try and listen to Who Got the Assist when I can. There's others I would love to. So many great content creators. I just don't have the time. As soon as you start naming content creators, it's like, oh my God, I've got 50 friends in the FPL community who create content and I haven't mentioned them. Shout out for Harry's new show, by the way, with Luke Kempner. Have a look at Harry's timeline on Twitter. I forget what it's called, but it's going to be a football-based show. That'll be really good. Luke's a comedian. Harry's great as well. They've got a new podcast coming out. I think they've already released an episode 0, they called it. But there'll be more from them coming out. That'll be worth a look, definitely, as well. I don't have much time. I don't. I essentially work, and my spare time goes on Tottenham and Harry. That's it. It's very rare I even go out and socialise with friends anymore. That's it. I don't have time to podcasts. Occasionally I might catch something on the way, like travelling or stuff, but it's never long enough really that I'm going to listen to a whole podcast, for example. Matt Dunnett says, hi James, thoughts on a 5 million 5-0 Ipswich win. My son loves you. His name is Patrick. He supports Spurs. Patrick, can you Spurs? Thoughts on a 5-0 Ipswich win? I think there's more chance of me sitting on the moon today by the end, by full time of that match. FPL Goal Galazzo says, good morning, FPL Top Advisor. Have a great game week. Smash the like button, you mugs. David James Whiteway says, sad to see Palace losing players. Looked amazing end of last season. Hope they can recruit well. Yeah, the only thing with the Anderson one, because I discussed this a bit with Clayton, obviously, on the pod we did on Wednesday. Why is he going there? Maybe Glasner doesn't rate him. And therefore, Elise was kind of therefore maybe the only big one they lose. Hold on to Eze, Gay. They've added a few defensive, obviously added Kamada and Saar. Yeah, but someone like Eze is probably not going to... He'll get bought, won't he? Highly likely. Similar with Gay at some point as well. It's going to be... It's tough. This is a consequence for Palace of the amazing end to last season that they had. Which Gay didn't feature in, but then Gay obviously had a really strong Euros as well. And people knew his talent. It's not like Newcastle watched the Euros and went, hey, let's buy him. Like, they would have decided that long ago anyway. I should imagine. That's what happens. It's a sorry state, really, but it's a reality. Wolves have bought Rodrigo Gomez, okay? If Rodrigo Gomez proves to be one of the best left wingers in the league this year, he's probably not with Wolves next season. It's pretty harsh, but it's where we're at. I see a few saying no Garnacho for Manchester United is the word going round. I'll not had that confirmed as yet, and the team will be out fairly soon, so whatevs. We'll cover in a sec. I did see a account claiming that Xerxes starts and Garnacho doesn't, and I didn't share it because I had no idea who it was. Ala Turner says, love to watch you and Clayton do a match a day challenge. Oh my god. It'd be the same thing, like Arsenal couldn't play that day either. There's no way I'm ever doing that. It's too important to me, and it'd be the same for Clates. AG says, took a punt with Haaland triple captain this week. Good luck. Geo Trivia test. Do you think we're overlooking the promoted teams because of how poor they were last season? I think all three did pretty well opening day, but I still think as it stands, they're probably going to be the poorest three in the league. So there's obviously a lot of adrenaline off for last week as well. If Southampton lose to Forest today, that's like the life completely sucked out of you, basically. Ipswich doesn't matter, Whams today, really. Leicester have still got some challenging fixtures in the next few, which as a run is fine, but they've all got challenges. Don't look easy over the next three. But Fulham's the sort of game that you're looking at going, want to take something here. Atul says, have you ever looked away from what's happening on the pitch in a stadium TV because you were too nervous? Don't think so. No. I mean, my outlook on all that has always been like, I paid my ticket. What, to not watch? No, I could only think that looking away would be like on the TV if someone's on like a serious injury or something like that. No. Face it. What's the worst thing that'll happen? He'll miss or they'll score. That's it. That's the worst thing that will happen. Danelia says, enjoyed it. Thank you, very welcome. Big Chief. Everyone's sleeping on Doku. I can't believe no one asked about Jeremy Doku on this stream. I even put him in the thumbnail. And you know what I would have said? No. Oh, we got a 15-pointer against Ipswich. Great, he might do that today. Brilliant. It can drive you nuts. Gavin Richardson says, even after the transfer window closes, you will need to timestamp the pods up until Maresca gets sacked. If Chelsea were a friend of mine, I would have to organise an intervention. Reece Ferguson says, a couple of seasons ago on Match of the Day Challenge, Mark sold Ferran Torres. I remember this. Got a brace and assist against Arsenal. Sold Tony, also scored. And went Gray and Lukaku. Cost him another 12-ish points. I do definitely remember the Ferran Torres. Because they beat Arsenal 5-0, I think. Might have been Arteta's first full season. If you look back at the Arsenal team that day, oh my God, What a mess. Sweet Blue says, put Docker in my wildcard team, James. Good luck, mate. T-Bo says, it's not a terrible pick, is it? T-Bo says, hi James, Spurs fan here. On the Clayton and James show, you said Spurs have a mentality and leadership issue within the group. Got any thoughts on how that could be resolved? Yeah, changing the captain next year. Possibly. And maybe it's an experienced winner. Someone to stand in the middle of the pitch with a little bit more experience and know-how, maybe. Listen, love Sonny. I've had this before. Oh, he's too Arsenal. He's one of our best ever players. He gets into, certainly in my period going, he would get into the best Tottenham 11. It's like 5th or 6th in the all-time Tottenham legend, mate. As far as I'm good, I know he himself has said no. Tottenham legend, in my opinion, for what he's done in front of goal for the football club over the last 9 years or so. But genuinely, if there was a really big bid coming for Son this week, I'd sell him. I've been saying this for a while. Move on and reevaluate and spend that money better, because Ange wants 1v1 dribblers who can go 1v1, not just passing behind, 1v1 and take a man on and beat them. And for me, it's no longer in his skill set. And that's great, you know. He does complete dribbles. Yeah, Kulusevski completes a shitload of dribbles, but you don't consider him as that type of player, right? No. Yeah. And listen, he's a great face for the football club. He's very well liked within the dressing room, so I completely understand why he's captain. But yeah, I do think that's a leadership issue, because every time we have a bad result, he stands in front of the camera and it's always the same. He looks like a broken man who's let everyone down. Right, do something about it then, mate. I'm sick of seeing you after games like, we must learn. No, mate, come on. And I want some motivation going into the next one, not just like a distraught lost puppy. Come on, I want more from him. Listen, he's still a brilliant finisher, etc. He'd go nap today. He's very capable, right? If you've captained him and all that, good luck. Is he still in our best 11 at the moment? Yeah. I don't think it'd be a huge shock to me if he's not by the end of the season. David Fawn says, which stadiums are your favourite away grounds to watch Spurs? Favourite away grounds? They're quite like where I went the other day, Leicester. It's a good one. It's one of the shorter journeys. It feels like wherever you go in this country is like 2 hours on a train. Doesn't matter what the distance is, it feels like it's 2 hours. Unless it's Newcastle, in which case it's free. And I might not be going next week now because there's no bloody trains. Leicester like, Villa like. A pig to get away from though. Good luck with that today, Clates. I do like Newcastle, just it's a journey. Quite enjoy going to Chelsea now, actually, just most of the time it's a bad result. Quite like that upper tier on the shed, is good. It's easier to name the ones that I don't like. Wolves, shit away end on the side, just crap. I think Forest beyond the goals, crap. But I like Nottingham. Not that I dislike Wolverhampton, by the way. I just do quite like Nottingham. I held a stag do in Nottingham, so I've got a soft spot for it. Southampton's all right. Really looking forward to going to Ipswich this year. I guess West Ham's one is like, but it's down the road. It's fine. It's easy to list the ones that don't like Palace. Palace is the worst. Palace is the worst, and it's 2:00 on a Sunday, and it's not on the telly, so I'm definitely going this year. And that means my dad's probably coming with me. So my single spot pitch that I have, which is only enough room for one, is probably out the window now. So yeah, I'll probably be at Palace. That is awful, absolutely awful. Crystal Palace, awful. That's the one. I'd happily get rid of them just on that alone. Who is next? Oh, I should probably do the team, shouldn't I? Let's use official FPLs. Sorry, I yapped way too much there. Brighton, Steele, Dunk, Milner, Pedro, Gilmore, Minter, Welbeck, Mitoma, Van Heck, Veltman, Hinshelwood. So Gilmore in for who's Gilmore in for there? Milner's in the team. Who played centre midfield with Milner last week? Oh, Weaver. Mats Weaver is Not in the squad, so must have a problem. Okay. United, so that Garnacho news is correct. Looks like, yep, same 11 that started against Fulham. Garnacho is a sub. I'm surprised by that personally, but okay. Right, let's rattle through these. Yes, Sweet Blues, I see that. Thank you. I'm going to end with Almost Seko's question. Swiss Wavy, I looked away when Fab Moamba went down. Yeah, I can understand that, mate. I was a long way away. I knew what was going on. Tony, I ain't doing any more FPL now, mate. I'm done. FPL Gold Galazzo, Mancy's James McAtee impressed me last season at Sheffield United. How much do you rate his talent? It's quite easy to impress in that team. I don't think he'll be good enough to play for City. Not certain he's a Premier League player in there. Technically really good. Not sure he'll stay at the top level. That's my honest assessment. Paul Spence 007. Hi James, could you please say happy birthday to my mate Dan? He follows all your pods and is a massive fan. Thanks. No. Yeah, I'll do it. Happy birthday, Dan. You have a good one. Cheers, mate. Thanks for the support. Meninda says, any change in Telegraph or Dream Team this week? Not playing Dream Team. I haven't looked at it. I genuinely haven't looked at it at all, Melinda. So, yeah, I should probably do that and have a look. I know I've got Quanser in a team or two, so I possibly need to deal with that more than I thought I did. So, I will probably deal with that. Greg Frost says Saudi probably would give 50 million for Son, to be fair. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I would take it. I think, to be honest, at this stage, because of his global appeal, we'd get more than that. I don't think Son wants to go there, by the way. Emmanuel Topos' question series: what would James give up for a Spurs title? Moving to Portugal to be Suj and not watching Spurs home games anymore? Nah, fuck that. Nah. Who wants to be Suj? Hello, boss. Love you. No, I mean, what does it mean to me if I don't watch it? So it's no. Almost says, so I kept Solanke, rolled my 3T, Mosquera's sent off today. Yeah, it's not a question, is it? I don't want to do any more FPL, mate. Bored now. David Fawn said, yes, Gilmore has been heavily linked with Napoli, but yeah, he's in the team. Go on, one more then. D.80, which player in the Prem excites you the most outside of the obvious Salah, Haaland, Saka, Lucas Bergvall? And on that bombshell, I wish you all a great week. As a reminder, we'll be back on Tuesday with the Gameweek 2 review podcast. Have a great weekend. If your team's playing, good luck. Good luck with your FPL team. I hope your hours are green. Be nice to each other. Ciao for now, everyone.